What's going on, everybody? In today's video here, we got a job, we actually got two different jobs I worked on in this video, but the first part here, I'm running skidder, and as you saw in the first few minutes, we were getting the landing cleared out, and I'm working with this guy in the cutter, and now we're back here, we're in the back of the job now, so where you saw us working in the beginning there, up in the front, was just the landing, and we actually started all the way in the back of this job, besides just clearing out the landing. Started back here cutting a pond that they're going to put in for the first part of the job, and everything's been skidded out except for some single trees that were left. So he kind of went back there with the skidder and with the cutter and laid a bunch of stuff down, and then we skidded it all out, and now he's just finishing off the couple trees that are left. So this is a real, I don't know, I'm not going to call it tough because, running a skidder in a land clearing application isn't really tough, but with it, you see this to my left there, there's a fence up, and then over there to the right, they got a fence up, and I'm supposed to keep them intact, and I actually do a pretty good job of that. There's, at the end of getting these trees out of here, there's one or two little tears in the fence, and that fence to the left there gets a little bit, some contact with branches and stuff, but for the most part, we get everything out of here without doing any damage to the fence. It's kind of annoying how they do that, where they, on a clearing job like this, you'll go in and you'll be allowed to cut for the limit of disturbance, so like the perimeter of the job. But as soon as you cut that, you have to pull the stumps out, and then they put the silt fence in behind you. And then only after that, the way that the sequence of construction is, usually done, only after the silt fence goes in can you start disturbing the interior area of the job. So that can make some difficult situations like this one where, we're working around silt fence. That's, you're trying to skid full-length trees out and not tear a fence down. And this area that I have to skid these trees through is actually pretty tight. So what I did there, I didn't mention it at the moment when I did it, but I set a stump on the corner of the fence, put a big stump there, and trying to use that as kind of a buffer to keep the trees. Like you'll see here as I go around this corner, there's a stump there on the left side, and I'm still getting into probably got into it a little bit there, but not too bad, I guess. So that's pretty much what the first part of this video is. It's just me skidding trees out of the backside of that job, and then here in a minute, I think actually we got the guy who was running the cutter is now out here stacking the trees up that I'm skidding. So you'll see this excavator. Everything you see stacked up there came from the backside, the back part of the job where we're working, and we're getting up a pile built up so they can bring in the loader and process everything. So he's there in the excavator. He's sorting trees that are going to be chipped, and then putting trees that are good for firewood or saw logs, putting them in a pile to be processed, and then the trees that are to be chipped are just stacked up for when the chipper comes in. So yeah, hope you enjoy this video, this part. In a couple minutes here, I'm going to be cutting some timber by hand, and you can see those guys back there on the left in the corner of that little excavator there. He's putting the fence in. And here I get kind of hung up in the fence, and I got to go back here and try to, work, which that didn't really do a whole lot, but so then I turn around and push it with the blade and try to push it over some. But like it's a real tight area there coming out for skidding anyway. I mean, it's plenty of room to drive equipment in and out of, but for skidding stuff in and out, it was a little tighter than I would have liked it to be. So here I am, I'm building the drag up. Now I've moved out of that pond, we got everything out of there, and I'm working around the LOD, the limit of the job, skidding everything out and making room so that we can then cut roads into the center of the job and skid everything out and not be running over all this stuff. So in a minute here coming up, I'm going to be doing some timber cutting, and definitely fast forward or hang around for that, because it's some amusement and excitement, to say the least. So hope you're enjoying. I'll check back in a minute. Okay, so now I've got the hand cut, and the couple clips you're going to see here are from a job that I worked on for, wasn't even a day, it was just a couple of hours. I went and tried out for this company, a lumber mill, and they didn't know me or anything. I don't have like a big reputation or and this is kind of far away from where I live. This job we're cutting on is about an hour and a half from where I live. So I came down here to kind of try this out. They pay by production, and it's decent. I don't even know if you could really. It's about 2.5 cents a board foot. I mean, if you get into what exactly the money comes out to, so people who cut timber and do logging will understand what that means. When I say 2.5 cents a board foot, so it's not like great, but the timber that they have is all pretty big. And they told me that coming in. They told me that their guys, they have some Amish guys that cut for them, and they told me that their Amish guys average about 8 to 10 loads a day, but they wanted to use somebody who was easier to get a hold of, because obviously the Amish, because they don't have phones in their houses and stuff, they can be a little more difficult to get a hold of, and it can take them a little longer to get out to do the work. So they wanted somebody that they could easily communicate with. And, I didn't make up any resume or anything or tell them I was anything I wasn't. I just told them I'd like to give it a shot and came down and worked for them for about half a day. And I just couldn't keep up the production that they needed. Like I said, they needed about 8 to 10 loads a day. And this is just strictly dropping and topping. You're not chasing pulpwood, you're not chasing firewood, you're dropping the tree, cutting it off at the first Y and, moving on to the next one. But I'm just, the name of the channel is Amateur Logger. That's pretty much what I am as an amateur. And, I tried to make this work, but I just don't have what it takes to cut 8 to 10 loads a day at this point. And not sure that I ever will, maybe one day, but, excuse me, maybe one day I'll have it, but I don't right now. So this is actually the first tree on this job that I cut. And both these trees you're going to see me cut here are leaning. This one that I'm cutting is leaning out towards a field, and I'll actually explain this again later at the end of the video. But so I'm trying real hard to get it to go back in the corner. The corner is about the only place that I really wanted it to go, and it just, you might be able to hear me talking now, or I might turn my sound down. Well, I'll turn my sound up here and just let you listen. So
it's not gonna go where I want it to. Might be worse. Jeez. That's not a way to start it off.
Okay, so you saw there, first tree of the day, did not go so well. Tried to put back in that corner and it kind of pulled off over there where you see it sitting now. And fortunately it didn't land in the field. There's a field right next to where it landed, so it's not the end of the world, but it wasn't really what I wanted. So where was I? Oh, right, so I came down and worked for these guys. It just didn't go the way I'd wanted it to. I knew I was kind of getting in, I'm not going to say over my head, but that I was really stretching myself trying to come down here and cut at that production level. But I wanted to give it a shot and see if I could do it, and at the end of the day I just didn't have what it took. So doing what I'm doing, I'm kind of, I don't know if it's right to call me like a professional hack, how you would say it, but I work as a subcontractor, basically. I have my own business set up, with the LLC and everything, and I kind of just I work for different clearing companies, running equipment, cutting timber. All the timber cutting you've seen up to this point has been for clearing companies. This is a logging job. It's for loggers, not a clearing operation. So this is select cut timber. And I've done a little bit of select cut timber before this, but this is just kind of really opens my eyes up to wow, select cut timber and cutting for clearing are two very different things. And this was fun, and I think I would have enjoyed it more if I hadn't have been kind of
pushing myself, and when you push yourself and try and go faster than you really should, then you end up making more mistakes that caused you to take more time, and that's pretty much just how this whole thing kind of went. So it was a good learning experience. The guys that I worked for were not at all like, they weren't mad or anything. Like I straight up told them, like, look, I'm sorry, I didn't really have what you needed to to do this for you. And they were like, oh, you're not that bad. Like, I mean, we understand we need really high production cutter, but you can definitely get there. Like you've got the foundation for what you're trying to do. You just keep at it and you'll learn. So they were real nice. I mean, there wasn't any like bad blood between them. I was just real frustrated because I wanted it to work out, because they were paying decent and they had good timber. I saw, the job we were on was probably about 300,000 board feet of hand cut timber. A lot of it the size of this tree that I'm cutting right now, so 30 inches and up. They did have a rubber tired cutter, which I don't have footage of, not like the one in the video before, the earlier part of this video, like a John Deere rubber tired cutter. They had one of those going around knocking down the smaller stuff, but most of it was going to be like this, bigger hand cut trees. So, oh well, it didn't work out. I'm going out with another guy to do he does select cut timber, and I'm going to go try out with him a couple of days from now. So hopefully that'll go a little better. He's not as high production as these guys are, so I'm thinking that might be a little bit better of a fit for me to kind of get my feet wet with this. But really, really when you get into the financial part of it, the clearing guys just pay better and don't expect as much from what I've experienced so far. So I'm going to pound a few wedges in this thing, try to get it over, and well, should be going now. So you can hear my explanation at the end of this video for what happened here. But thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Phew. Nice. All right, so quick explanation. We got a buffer zone over there, got a field over here. Tree was trying real hard to go out about that way. And the buffer zone actually runs up right next to me here. You can see that pink flag there. So the only option was to go behind me like that, or dead ahead of me. And I felt like it'd have more lean to go dead ahead than it did behind. So that's why I went through all that. This one was kind of the same deal, except it was leaning out in the field. And you can see there, I mean, it rolled over when it came off the stump, but I tried real hard over here. Tried to pull it back over there. It wouldn't go. Kind of dead too. Got hollow in the center. A little hollow anyway, hollow in the trunk. So yeah, that's the deal with these two. Hopefully the rest of the day is a little more efficient. Take down some more trees than this, because I'm moving real slow right now.